ABC 6 News 11 at 11 starts right now.
Coming up on ABC 6 News 11 at 11, local Halloween festivities happening across Rhode Island this weekend. Hear how you can get involved. And a national organization gathering in the Ocean State honoring the service and sacrifice of veterans. How they are sharing the stories of those who have served. Plus a street sign dedicated to a prominent woman in Rhode Island politics. We'll show you how the state is honoring the late Senator Mary Ellen Goodwin. But first, we begin tonight with breaking news just into the newsroom. 2 people taken to the hospital after a double stabbing in Pawtucket tonight. It happened on Slater Street. Police say the victims' injuries are non-life threatening. This is a developing story, but be sure to stick with us on air and online at abc6.com as we get more information. Now to our top story on ABC 6 News 11 at 11. The search for the suspect in the deadly mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine came to an end late last night when authorities found the body of Robert Card, dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Good evening to you and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Alyssa Azara. Investigators say they received more than 800 tips during the manhunt, including tips from Card's family. ABC's Morgan Norwood reports from Lewiston.
Tonight, with the manhunt now over, authorities shifting the focus of their investigation into the motive behind the deadly mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. It comes after authorities announced late Friday they found the body of 40-year-old Robert Card, dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Robert Card is no longer a threat to anyone.
Police say his body was found near the Androscoggin River in Lisbon Friday night by a recycling center where he used to work. Authorities say they had cleared that location twice.
Across the street, there's an overflow parking lot, which is the Recycling Corporation property. So the owner was very diligent to say, did you clear those trailers?
Investigators say they found a note describing it as a letter to family.
I wouldn't describe it as a explicit suicide note, but the tone and tenor was that the individual was not going to be around.
The suspect had been at large for more than 48 hours after allegedly going on a shooting rampage at a bowling alley and a bar, killing 18 people and wounding 14 others. We're now learning more about the victims. The youngest, Aaron Young, just 14 years old, killed along with his father Bill at the bowling alley.
Aaron loved to bowl and it was something they did fairly regularly and just happened to be that night.
Arthur Strout, a father of 5, also died in that shooting. His own father was with him at the restaurant, but left 10 minutes before the gunman walked in and opened fire.
I'm there with my son, playing a couple games of pool, just laughing, and in that 10 minutes, he's just gone.
And officials say they took in more than 820 leads, many of them coming from the suspect's family. They've also opened up a victim services center to provide support for the victims' families. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Lisbon, Maine.
New tonight on ABC 6 News 11 at 11. 2 people are dead after a shooting in Providence early this morning. Tonight, police are releasing few details as the investigation is still in its early stages. Officials say the 2 victims were shot and killed on Hathaway Street. No word on a suspect or a motive at this time, but stick with us on air and online for the latest updates. Meanwhile, 1 person is dead after a double shooting at Worcester State University. Officials say it happened around 3 a.m. in a parking lot between 2 residence halls. The shooting forced a shelter-in-place order for the campus. Neither of the people shot were students at the school, but their names are unknown at this time. Massachusetts State Police say a suspect is in custody and the DA's office is investigating. All on and off-campus activities have been canceled for the remainder of the weekend. Turning now to some other headlines we are following this weekend. In Providence, right here on Orm Street, Mayor Brett Smiley, state officials, and the public honoring the late Senate Majority Whip Mary Ellen Goodwin with a street sign in her name. The new Mary Ellen Goodwin Memorial Way is located along Orm Street and is to honor the life, work, and legacy of the late senator. Goodwin was elected to the Senate back in 1986 and was the 2nd longest serving member of the chamber. She died in April after a long battle with colon cancer. In Ashaway, Rhode Island, Wreaths Across America's mobile education exhibit, making its last stop in the Ocean State today. It's part of its National Tour Week. The exhibit also stopped in Portsmouth back on Tuesday. It aims to provide a unique experience in honoring those who served in the military, sharing stories and remembering the sacrifices they made for our country. Meanwhile, the organization A Wish Come True hosted its first trunk or treat event at their office on Jefferson Drive in Coventry last night. The group is an organization that helps make the wishes come true of children suffering from life-threatening illnesses. The executive director, Mary Kay O'Leary, says over 150 people came out to the event. Students from Bryant University were also there helping out. If you are looking for some family-friendly fun tomorrow night, more trunk or treats will be held throughout Rhode Island and Bristol County. Tomorrow, the festivities will commence in Providence, Fort Adams State Park in Newport, and Kingston Congregational Church in Kingston. For the full list of Halloween fun happening this weekend, you can visit our website. That's abc6.com. And the Hotel for Homeless Dogs hosting their 4th annual Halloween in Lincoln today. The event at Lincoln Woods State Park saw plenty of pups and pet-themed vendors, as well as a dog walk for pets in costume and their owners. To learn more on how you can get involved with the Hotel for Homeless Dogs, visit their website, hotelforhomelessdogs.com. You are taking a live look now outside over the city of Providence. Let's get a check on the forecast. Meteorologist Kelly Bates joins us live in the Weather Center. Kelly, it's been a warm one.
No doubt, a record-breaking warm day. We had temperatures that topped out 2 degrees warmer than a long-standing record that had been in the books for quite some time. Right now, as we're overlooking the city, we've got a little bit of cloudiness. These clouds will continue to thicken up as we go through the overnight. Currently, it's 63 degrees. Winds are moving in from the northwest at around 10 miles per hour. By the way, this afternoon, we hit our full moon, and the full moon right now is the full hunter's moon. So we have the hunter's moon. This moon will be setting at 3 a.m. So, 3-4 hours from now. And again, just a really beautiful sight if you happen to catch it out there. Definitely, you couldn't help but notice. Our satellite radar showing the clouds. They'll be increasing from southwest to northeast in advance of a cold front that will be coming towards southern New England and eventually lifting through with precipitation. So increasing clouds is our forecast for overnight tonight, and tomorrow morning we're going to see that rain develop from southwest to northeast, and it should be in place by noon. From there, it gets heavy at times and pretty consistent, and temperatures are going to be nearly 30 degrees colder than what we saw today. And that's our new trend as we move ahead. I'll let you know how long it'll last, too, coming up in just a couple minutes. Alyssa?
All right, Kelly, thank you. We are switching gears now to our continuing coverage of Israel's war with Hamas. As Israeli forces begin ground operations inside Gaza, Israel's prime minister says the goal is to destroy Hamas's military and governing capabilities and bring those estimated 229 hostages home. Here's ABC's Chuck Siverston with the latest.
Explosions seen in the northern Gaza Strip Saturday evening as Israel enters what it is saying is its second stage in its war on Hamas. Earlier in the day, Israel Defense Forces saying it expanded its ground operation in Gaza, sending in tanks and infantry backed by massive strikes from the air and sea. The IDF releasing video, it says, shows Israeli tanks operating in northern Gaza. In a statement, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying the commanders and soldiers are now fighting on enemy territory, knowing that the people and the leadership of the people are behind them. ABC's Ian Pannell spoke with one of Netanyahu's advisors who said Israel will continue to put pressure on Hamas.
We've seen that pressure rise, and it will continue to rise in the coming days and weeks until we achieve our goal, which is the total dismantlement of the Hamas military machine and the end of their political structure in Gaza.
The Israeli military says it struck 150 targets in the Gaza Strip overnight, destroying tunnels and underground infrastructure. They say several Hamas leaders were killed, including Asim Abu Rakaba, who they say took part in planning the brutal October 7th Hamas terror attack on Israel. Netanyahu addressed the nation on Saturday, saying the war against Hamas will be long and difficult. He also met with the families of hostages still being held by Hamas, assuring them their release is part of Israel's military goals. But fears are mounting that Israel's ramped-up military operations in Gaza could endanger the hostages.
We are very worried. We don't know that if the whole military operation take all these hostages under consideration, that nobody will be injured.
Meanwhile, the situation in Gaza is growing more dire. Phone and internet service reportedly cut off. A spokesperson for the World Health Organization says the communications blackout is making it impossible to reach the injured. Chuck Sivertson, ABC News, New York.
In headlines we are tracking around the country tonight, 300 people have been arrested after demonstrators gathered in New York City's Grand Central Station Friday for calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. The demonstrators were from the activist group Jewish Voice for Peace and took to the station chanting "Free Palestine" while wearing shirts that read "Not in our name." Organizers say it was in response to Congress passing a measure supporting U.S. funding and backing of Israel's military. At one point during the protests, NYPD had to block entrances to keep more protesters from coming. Arrests there ranged from disorderly conduct to trespassing. Meanwhile, tonight, former Vice President Mike Pence announcing he is no longer running for president of the United States. Pence made the announcement at the Republican Jewish Coalition in Las Vegas, saying he will continue to help elect, quote, principled Republican leaders. Many planners of today's event were not aware that Pence would be making the announcement. Officials close to him say a factor may have been concerns over not qualifying for the upcoming third Republican debate. In entertainment news tonight on 11 at 11, actor Matthew Perry, known for his role as Chandler Bing on the hit TV sitcom Friends, has died. The Los Angeles Times reports 54-year-old Perry died in an apparent drowning accident at his home in Los Angeles. Law enforcement told the LA Times that foul play is not suspected in his death. Still to come on ABC 6 News at 11. Members of the United Auto Workers Union finally reaching a deal with Stellantis. What officials are saying tonight. Plus, meteorologist Kelly Bates has your full weather forecast for the rest of the weekend and the week ahead. Stay with us. We'll be right back.